Oh, I missed the transition fade again. Oh my gosh, I was trying to do stuff with the Discord and I missed the button. Lame. Hey everybody, what's going on? Just checking out everything here. All the screens are all lined up. The overlapping, the cascading window. I have 2 monitors on arms, and I still have these cascading windows. Let's see here. MLSFI. Can't wait. Yes, Brandon, get in here. Can't wait. So thank you, everybody. I was just double checking the social that's gone out on Discord, gone out on Twitter. If you would be so kind, if you would not mind to like and share those links, it helps us ever so much. What's up, Gene? Also, if you're joining us for the first time here on YouTube, welcome. And we go live pretty much every Monday. I say pretty much because sometimes our schedules get really crazy with these congested double game weeks and just general life and all that kind of jazz. But pretty much every Monday we are doing some kind of fantasy content for the official MLS Fantasy. I don't even know if there are really any unofficial games left anymore. I don't know. Maybe Yahoo's got something still, but we are here for the official MLS Fantasy game. Every now and then some of the extra little side games that they have, but we give some shout outs. But the season-long game is what we focus on. So welcome. Thank you so much for coming. Like, subscribe, hit the little bell notification for when we do go live. And it's always great to see people join. I think we're getting close to 600 subscribers on YouTube, which is crazy since this really just started out as a way to get the audio and everything recorded and have backups for publishing everything. People are like, let's go on YouTube. Why not? I was like, well, okay, sure. We'll join in. Now we have lots of people who join us. Hey, Eric. Hey, Jojo. What's going on, everybody? Strix. And so Ashley and I are here tonight. Blaine's, I'll explain why Blaine's not here in a second, but we are here to talk this last double game week, crazy double game week, and a little bit return to normalcy with the single game week we have coming up. Thank goodness, after a short little bit, but all right. So again, if you wouldn't care to share the social, we will get started. Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the MLS Fantasy Insider, our review of Round 18's massive double game week and our preview of Round 19. This episode is brought to you by Bob Bradley's Italian Goodbye. No. Actually, brought to you by the amazing MLS Fantasy Insider Patreon supporters. It's because of you that we're able to keep this project going. You can learn more about our Patreon over at patreon.com/MLSFI. I'm your host, Reid Connolly from MLSFantasyBoss.com, and tonight I'm joined by my partner in fantasy, Ashley Savage. Blaine is out tonight because of something having to do with coils and a spark plug and some guy named Merlin. I don't know. He's doing stuff with things, and it was not a catalytic converter, and that's what he said. And Ashley and I were like, so that's a no. Is that what you're trying to say? But we're here, and we're ready to talk about this double game week. It was an interesting one, I think. A lot of ups and downs, especially for my team. But we are excited to see how people did. So if you're in chat with us right now, let us know how your team finished. And we will start by talking about ours. I guess I'll go first. I finished with 127, which I thought was really good. I think that was pretty competitive for a lot of us. I was just telling Ashley before the show started, the number one player got like 170-something points, 172 points this week, which I think is way above the average. With the 127, I won most of my head-to-heads, and the ones that I lost, it was just by a few points. So I feel like the 120s, 130s was probably a pretty competitive round for people in I guess I'm in the top 200, so in kind of that upper range was probably where you look for. Other scores will vary depending on your league, but everything, it's a double game week, so you never know what's going to happen. The only real regret that I have is that I did not stick with fading Mukhtar, because any of the other options that I was originally considering for a midfielder would have been better in that spot. So that's I mean, I had thought about going with Gald. I had thought about going with some of the other players. I don't have my list in front of me at this time, but I thought about going with some other players that just would have been better than than what the 6 points that Mukhtar ended up getting this round.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what happens. We know what's going on. Nashville on the road. Christian warned us last week. We should have known better. So that was really the only upset of things that was upsetting for me. Otherwise, I mean, I had Wagner on my team who just got 4. I had kind of come down between he or Lennon, and Lennon did do better, but I still stick by my thought of I just have a hard time going with Lennon because of the struggles of Atlanta's defense. And so I know that he has some offensive side, but I view Wagner as having that same offensive bonus, but with a better team, even though I knew that they were missing some of their key components. But I mean, having Guzan isn't like it's kind of like you're still missing a key component anyway at this point, really. So I stand by that thought. So not a huge regret. This is what it is. But I had fun captaining DeRusi. That was, I know, one of the more off the wall captain picks that we suggested last week. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take the flyer. And so was not the highest of scoring captains, but definitely satisfied with his 11 points, getting 22 right there. So pretty solid. Other general musings that I have for this round is, like I was saying, Atlanta's defense struggles, and it really makes me hesitate picking up Lennon. And so I don't know if you fall in that same camp, Ashley, but it's sort of the same reason why I don't always going to go with Gall all the time, too. It's just some of the not getting those bonus points.
Yeah, I think I default to him so often because of the set pieces, right? He doesn't produce the same points as Wagner, but he fills a lot of those same roles. And so even when I know he's not going to get a shutout, I feel like I over-select him, if that makes sense. So I think I don't fall in that camp. I don't fade him enough.
I too, black and red, started Carranza, so that was another. I was pleased with my bench plays very much. I had Barreal and I had Bouanga coming off the bench. Carranza starting there. I went with a New York Red Bull defense.
You said stranded.
Stranded. Sorry,
Being English picky.
Well, I was just bouncing back and forth between screens.
Yeah,
but
no, you're good.
No, I had Coronel and I had Nealis on the bench. Neither of them actually ended up coming in because I didn't go with Coronel to keep Keeperoo after the less than ideal start that I saw. Ended up going with McCarthy, and that worked with his 12 points. And then I got Barrial's 11 and Bouanga's 12. And so it was great. I was super pleased that Acosta and Barrial did not get yellows, either of them, which I very much expected, but that didn't happen. But speaking of the Red Bulls, they've really piqued my interest. Ever since I saw their Open Cup match against Cincinnati, they have definitely got some attacking threat right there, and I think defense has been pretty reliable with some of their numbers as well. So these guys are definitely tempting differentials that I think people don't want to be sleeping on if you are, or if you. I know we've mentioned it a couple times, but definitely some good results for some of the offensive production this week. Polito has been a bright spot for Sporting Kansas City. Had to give him a shout out since Blaine's not here. I'm not as sure about the next couple of matches for Polito versus Vancouver at Houston. We could talk more about that in our third segment, but he's been a great bonus for them. I know some people had him. He did well this last round. Comment I definitely want to get from you, Ashley. LAFC was exhausted, or is exhausted. Maybe they're over it now. And Seattle was reeling from absences. What was the bigger impact from that game?
I honestly, this is like a very diplomatic answer, but I honestly think it was equal parts both. Seattle has struggled a lot when Jordan Morris and Christian Roldan haven't been on the field. I think we saw that a lot. There was a stat during that game that the commentator said that was like, LAFC with 4 homegrown beers on their roster today, and I was like, Seattle has like 8 today. What are you talking about? Like the intent behind the comment was like how rotated LAFC was, but like also so Seattle has been for most of the season, barring like week 1. So I don't know. I think LAFC is definitely hitting that. We saw this with Seattle last year, right? This post Champions League final, having all of your games moved around to accommodate still being in Champions League, to make it that far and then lose. They have injuries. I definitely think they're hitting a tricky stride. But Seattle too, heavily rotated, will be this weekend. It's just kind of hard to decide which one was more the weighing factor there. I think it was equal parts.
Absolutely. I know I thought that would be a great little comment there because I know there are people who are debating back and forth with some of those teams, and I did not fall into a Seattle trap because of some of the very things that you said as well, and have said in the past as well.
Yeah.
A few other things. Chicago did better than I expected, but it's still not enough for me to really target anyone on their team. But I did definitely expect that Chicago was going to just lose both of these games, and that was not the result.
I feel obligated to shout out Kai Kamara in that section because Blaine's not here, because Blaine would want us.
Very true. Very true. These are all things
produced. Yeah,
absolutely. Reynoso got a goal. I know that's one we had mentioned him. He also had not been starting, got 89 minutes in this round. So if that is someone who you're taking a look at, I like him in at least probably 3 of his next 4 matches. But again, we'll talk more about that. But just want to give a quick update about Reynoso. Minnesota's still missing people though, but yeah, a goal right there. Wish I had 2 games from Gald. I know that Colorado Vancouver one got postponed. I know that I had a question about why those players weren't able to be rotated out or swapped in your team, and I honestly don't know. I don't know if that got.
They had a second game.
I think after the first one, why they weren't able to be rotated out.
Because they played again.
Right. And I don't know. I don't know why that happened. It's probably, if I didn't ask Skylar. If I had to guess, I would say that it was just far too late to be able to change the coding in the game for that, and that it just was what it was, which kind of sucks, but. So is it. This is the beginning of a new Champions League quarter qualifier, so it's all good. But wish I had 2 games from Gald because he's been coming on some. Definitely mention him on the show, on the radar. And do we even need 2 games then to have him as someone who we should be looking at, because he tends to be getting back into his form right there. And the last one that I'm going to mention before throwing it to Ashley is we are definitely seeing the impact of St. Louis not having some of their key pieces in this round, not everything falling in the way that I think that they would have hoped for.
Yep.
Ashley.
I did okay. I was slightly better than you by 1 point. I got a 128. I was saying off air that it didn't feel like a great score because I had some really bad points on the field, but it's nothing I can complain about. I won all my head-to-heads except against Black and Red, who I can't tell you if I've ever beat him, and this was the closest I've been. I moved up in overall ranking, but I didn't make Champions League, so I've got one last window. So shit starts to get pretty crazy for me in this last window because I kind of tend to go for it. I started both Wagner and Lennon, and just what a bunch of busts. Rodriguez, too, felt like a real bust. I picked Smart with Stuver. He was my back-end keeper. Coronel, ended up getting points that second game on my bench, but Stuver with 18 was a far better choice. I captained Evander, which I didn't believe in for a minute. I was really disappointed in myself for doing it, but my bench hit pretty well, and then like a lot of people, I got stuck with that Mukhtar 6 and just was shaking my fists at him. But some hits this double game week for me was that Austin defense and keeper. Cascante especially just picking up points through goals and goal contributions, and even I think Nick Lima made team of the week points wise. So Austin really starting to click a little bit more. Drewisi getting involved there as well, which is nice to see. Rolling the dice on Lucho with that yellow card warning, I think really paid off. Saw a couple people captain him, which felt bold. I was talking to Reid that I really wanted to do that, but I knew if I'd done it, he would have got the yellow card. So everyone who even had him this week, you're welcome.
Exactly.
The only reason he didn't get that first yellow card was because I didn't captain him, because I wussed out. And then, and the other hits I had for this week, just random midfielders that no one owned. Diego Luna from RSL coming off that Youth World Cup, or whatever that last youth tournament was, with his neck tattoos, just crushing first MLS goals after goal. Ethan Finlay, someone no one owns, also crushing it. And then Tyler should have just spelled this out for me because he should just know it was a name I'd probably say and would say wrong. But what is it? How do you say it? Bogusz from LAFC, also just really hitting this week, which was interesting to see. And then the misses, yeah, fucking Mukhtar just plopping a 6 on a double game week. Just very, I mean, yes, we did talk double road. Christian's always right when it comes to stuff like that, but even a 6 from him feels exceptionally poor for a double, even though it was double road. Like 2 games from him, that's just, really underproducing. Philly and San Jose defense, big misses. And yeah, that's basically all I got. I was going to go on a mini Evander rant, but it's always going to sound biased coming from me. So I'll just drop it and say that I felt like he was a miss as well.
No, it's okay. I will give you one small reaction rant, but first I will point out that Tyler did come into the chat and talked about how well Seattle's defense did. Yes, no, absolutely.
In the second game, sure.
Two clean sheets that came away with raw points, definitely better than several of the players. The comment we had made about some of the trap was looking at some of the offensive options. Pardon if that was not clear. Yeah, some of the offensive options that people may have looked at from Seattle. But yes, 2 clean sheets. That'll do you in a lot of ways for doing a great round. However, even with those 2 clean sheets, none of the Seattle players made the dream team, which was Cascante, who would have been the best captain with 58 points. That's ridiculous. With Lima and Stuver there, and then Duncan and Waterman from Montreal. So there's a dream team there. Possible 250 points. So. Wild, absolutely wild. But no, Ashley, I will give you a moment to do a little bit of rant, because last week we let Blaine, that became Brant.
We should call it a Brant.
That's what it is.
When he goes on a rant, we should call it a Brant.
It's a Brant now. That's exactly what it is.
Mine can be an Ashant.
we let Blaine rant about Messi, and so I will give you a little bit of a moment to give your reaction to the GOAT joining MLS before we get on to our next segment.
Guys, I was so sick, and I literally almost came on just to talk about it, because Blaine and Reid and I had talked about it amongst ourselves, and I just felt so bad giving him his own, platform. I'm so glad I get to come back at it today. I wish he was here for it, though. I do not think there's anything wrong with how this is happening, and I would pay out of my own pocket to get him here. There is not a bigger figure in all of sports. There was a tweet at one point that was like, listed all of the biggest players in the domestic United States, combine them, that's his social media following. I think you give this man whatever it is needed. I don't think it's giving Miami any sort of an advantage. I think he's only going to be there 2 to 3 seasons. I would be shocked if they did anything other than be mid-table, even with him. But the players he's going to bring in, the attention it's going to bring to the league, the benefit that the league will have, because more people are going to watch. More people are going to watch. More people are going to take it seriously. Sure, the retirement league thing is still going to be out there, but MLS has done this with almost every big name player. And by done this, I mean helped pay for these big names anytime. It's not MLS's fault that no one that they want to help pay for wants to go to Nashville or wants to go to some of these other teams. That's Messi going here is going to benefit those teams, because their games are going to sell out. People are going to want to come to this league to play against him, to play near him, all of those things that you've seen, right? And I don't know if you talked about it, but MLS was going to help pay the fee to bring Ronaldo here when Sporting put a bid in. So suck it, because you would have died to get Cristiano Ronaldo and not cared who helped pay for it. So I just don't think that there is any disadvantage to any other team that's not Inter Miami to have this man in this league. I cannot wait to pay $18 million in fantasy for him. I cannot wait to get my kid an Inter Miami Messi jersey, and I live across the country. I think it's fantastic. We have not seen a person contribute to sports in my 35 years of life the way that Lionel Messi has. And I'm a Ronaldo fan, so that means a lot. But I just cannot wait. I don't care how they get him here. I'm just so glad that he's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see, because we're a retirement league for 2 reasons now, because of the players coming here and because that's what people are going to have to empty out of their accounts to be able to afford the tickets to go see him play. So
yeah,
with all of that. But the one thing I will say is I kind of wish people would move on some at this. Like, I'm fine with mentioning him, but my buddy called me because he was like, "Dude, are you listening to the recap on the Apple TV right now?" And I was like, "No, what's going on?" He was like,
And it
"All
was like,
all they're
anybody's
talking
talking
about
Yeah.
is how many points
August.
is Inter Miami gonna be on when Messi joins,
I
and how
don't
many
think
more
that
points are they
many.
gonna get?" And I was just like, guys, come on. There's other stuff going
Yeah,
on.
I know.
Let's at least he's not at the top of the webpage anymore. But yeah, no, excited. Ashley, you and I are definitely in the same kind of category for this impact, and
But
it
to
is
say,
what
I
it
mean, I
is.
definitely wouldn't say it's fair. It's definitely not fair, but I do think everyone will benefit. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
In some
it's
way. Hmm.
yeah, exactly. I don't. No one has his discovery rights. This isn't. That's not a thing. I think the way that some of the other big names have come in have been a little sloppy. Clint Dempsey was a little sloppy. David Villa was a little sloppy. Well, all those things. But um, I don't care. This is great. I can't wait for it. I will say, like Black and Red said it a minute ago. I don't think he's going to play on turf. I don't think he's going to play on turf. I don't think we'll get to see him in Seattle. I don't think you're going to see him, in New England and Atlanta. If we look at what other players of his age, I mean, I guess, yeah, because I was going to say caliber, but that's not. No one is. But the Drogbas and the Messis and the Henri, I don't know. I don't think he'll play on turf, but I will say Seattle is getting rid of turf after next season in prep for the World Cup. So maybe we will see him here.
Absolutely, I think that's going to keep him through the whole time. It's be a great hype. But
Yeah.
well, good. No, I wanted to give you your due
Thank
since you
you.
didn't have us last week to be able to listen
I know.
to
We
the
had
brand
quite a fun
about that.
exchange via our own group text, did we not?
Yes, you know exactly what happened, so it was good times. Well, great. So, yeah, that's it for our general recap from this round. I mean, this was a massive double game week with Gold Cup, with international call-ups. This is exactly what we would expect. Players returning, players not hitting, different players coming in, like Ashley was highlighting. This is just what happens, and we are in the thick of it with Gold Cup underway. So we're going to talk more about who is still gone, what's going on, and how this round is going to play out in our next segment for housekeeping. Let's see here. There is that. Round 19.
Stadium, Gene.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'm honestly just wondering if he's going to play in that, if he's going to be available for that Open Cup game with Cincinnati. Because my buddy was
I
like,
don't think he'll play.
I don't know. Because I mean,
That's
I'm.
not how the league would want him introduced. You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds manipulative.
That's true. That's true as well. But like, does he come in and help them get hardware?
But that's not even on Apple. And
That's fair.
It's not even on brand.
That's fair.
Reid.
No, that's fair. That's a total like YouTube
Yeah.
thing right there. But my buddy was like, "You want to come and get this?" And my wife's out of town that week, so I got to be with the baby. So the baby Roo. So he's so that's a no for me. But it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting.
Yeah,
to see.
for sure.
All right, let's see here. The social is out for the housekeeping, so appreciates the shares right there.
Tyler, will you pronounce for me the second Red Bull player injured, please? Manuel? Because you're just going to yell at me when I do it later. Manuel? That's how I'm going to say it.
He's not going to tell you now, just out of spite, so that he can say
I'm
something.
trying.
I know you are. You are. You just got to roll with it. All right.
I got the rest of them. Okay.
Welcome back. We're here to talk about housekeeping for round 19, and let's do a quick little league update since we did an abbreviated one last week. So a Pro Rel League. We still have a boy named Sue, which is Wojo, who was our guest last week, number 2 overall. At least last week. I didn't check this round. But Wojo, number 2 overall, with the record of 15-0-3, leading our Champions League. Over in the Veterans League, we have Sombrero FC still, Ashley?
Yep.
Right on top. No update from Blaine, but everyone who is playing in the Homegrown League, you're doing awesome. Congratulations. And whomever is at top, good job. Good job. And we will get you a shout out as soon as we can get Blaine to tell us who you are. Going down, wrapping up with the Discovery League, the by far and away runaway winner, if we had it, of best team name of maybe all of fantasy. Hey, Ricky, you're so fine, with a record of 15-0-3 as well. Moving over to the other leagues, Discord head-to-head, 7 teams tied at 16-0-2 with Ryan McElhenney leading by points. Ryan, again, is also leading our Patreon league with a record of 15-0-2 right there. And then a shout-out to Black and Red, who's in chat with us, who is winning the MLS Fantasy Insider Experts Invitational head-to-head league with a record of 15-0-3. I think I said he was just like running away with it, but maybe only a couple of wins ahead of, I think, Ryan from Lineup IQ, depending on how things fall. I think he's got 13 wins. So it could happen. There's still a lot of season left, but Black and Red with a good lead right there. Moving on to round 19. Guys, this is a single game week. So take a breath, pat your head off, grab some, whatever that weird, hot, spicy muscle cramp drink is that people can do. Yeah, the bonkers stuff. Just take a break and enjoy a single game week. This is also the beginning of the 4th quarter qualifier for the Fantasy Champions League, so your last chance to punch your ticket to get into some extra fantasy prize territory right there. Games start on Saturday, July 1st at 7:30 p.m. technically with my FC Cincinnati, but a lot of teams with our usual Apple start time, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 games, which do make it fairly predictable for your switcheroo options. No teams are on a double game week, and we have Charlotte on a bye round this week, which makes switcheroos very easy. Charlotte has some very cheap players that you can still pick from. Not 4.0s at every position, but are also very easy, though, when trying to make your budget. If you are looking for other players, though, you can always head over to the Discord and to our Mega Reference. We do have a section called Safe Scrubs, and those are players who are no longer in the league, be they waived or bought out or loaned out or some sort of termination of their contract. They are gone.
Chicharito.
Well, they're not the injured
my
people.
scrub this weekend.
They're not. That's a Daddy Warbucks move. They're not injured, but they are no longer in the league and can no longer be subbed in, which I think Cincinnati started like 4 pretty young players this round, so they could have blown some switcheroos there. But safe switcheroos over at Discord, but also Charlotte going to be absolutely safe this week with their single game or their bye during the single game week. As far as international call-ups, guys, we are still here. We are in peak Gold Cup season right now. That means all of these players from CONCACAF are gone to the Gold Cup. You can head over again to the Discord, to the Mega Reference, to check out those players. But we've got the United States, Trinidad and Tobago, Haiti, El Salvador, Canada, Jamaica. Sad news for Canada's national team, though. That's maybe going bankrupt, so we'll see. We'll see with that.
We'll get Osorio back.
We'll find out. But yeah, so Guatemala, I think I got everybody there. But so a lot of stuff going on, a lot of players from those teams. So be sure to check out the injury and international duty report over there with the Mega Reference at the MLS Fantasy Boss Discord community to find out there. That's just going to be easier than going through a lot of the names as well right there. You can also, we have the list for the yellow card warnings, set piece takers, discipline. It's all good right there to check out. Tyler's probably going to be mad at me for not going through and just rattling off all the names. So I will
he sent me a short one.
I was going to say, do you want to touch base on some of the key ones instead?
Yeah, so a big return for this week is Dabasi from Minnesota, came back from his tendon tear. Jackson Reagan for Seattle, Arujo for Orlando, Ostrak for St. Louis, and Ian Murphy are all suspended this week due to yellow card accumulation or red card for Ian Murphy. Some key injuries are Halliday for Orlando, CJ Sapong took a knock for Toronto, Raul Ruidiaz, his dad died, so he missed the Orlando game, but indications say that he will play this weekend against Houston, but still just something to watch. Caceres for Red Bull hurt. Manuel, which is what I'm sticking with. He put it. Manuel. Really? I don't know. He's hurt for Red Bull, household name, and then Negri for Miami, also out injured.
Thank you,
Tyler.
Yes, thank you so
Oh, we
much.
do.
And for the quick recap. And of course, it did get pointed out in chat. We were trying to let you enjoy the news that this was a single game week. However,
We got to talk about it, though.
we do, and that's how we were going to wrap everything up. While this is a single game week, the next double game week is right around the corner as well. 4th of July, always a big time for MLS, and so
It's a Tuesday.
it is a Tuesday
Hits you a day early.
double game week. So round 20 is a double game week with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday games. And then, of course, round 21 is also a double game week, but it goes back to a Wednesday start. But then we get a little bit of a break after that with round 22 going back to normal. So, yes.
A little bit. We get a month of a break.
It just seems like a little bit the way things are right now. But, yes, no, this is a single game week, but right around the corner, 4th of July, we do have a double game week. So, be prepared. The silliness of the call-ups and the injuries and the rotations is not yet over. But we will be here with you in some capacity because I have a family vacation coming up, so we'll get some of those details worked out. But we will be here with you to give you some details and previews for what you need to know to be successful during those double game weeks.
We don't take an international break.
No, not international break. Maybe a Myrtle Beach break, but we will.
That sounds lovely.
We will see. It should be fun. It should be a lot of fun. But we are still here to talk about the single game week, and that's what we're going to do next, previewing players coming up for round 19 after this. No, we are all looking forward to the month-long break of a return to normalcy.
I kind of am.
I know. No, it is crazy. I guess I mean I should have I'll apologize to chat right here for not being able to get any of the posts up. It just finally got to me last week with work schedules and family schedules and being like I just was not able to get all the stuff up last week on the website. So apologies, but we got the podcast up. That was the priority.
I miss Blaine. We haven't been on the same show for a month.
He's like I said, he's got stuff that's going on with his car and his converters, and fantasy fatigue is really up.
It is. It's just nice to take a mental break. You know what I mean? Christian gets it. If anyone gets it, Christian gets it.
All right, we got the social out there for our pick section. So again, on Twitter, please do retweet those to help get the people up here. And it's always fun to chat when everyone's here. All right, welcome back. We're here to talk about our player recommendations coming up for round 19 of the MLS Fantasy season. And Ashley and I are here just to kind of go through, again, like I like to do when it's just two of us instead of rattling through the picks, to kind of take you through our thought process for where we're at right now, who we're thinking about, where we maybe have settled on. And we're going to start out with keepers and defenders. So, Ashley, who are you thinking about?
Yeah, I'm just going to say this up top, because I'm going to bring it up in most positions, that I think I'm really into Toronto this week. I love a coaching fire. It always makes me intrigued because it always means either they're going to play lights out or they're going to get their asses kicked. And I'm kind of really into this because it seems very orchestrated by a particular group of players. So those guys better produce. So again, I'm just very much keeping my eye on that Toronto lineup. For my keeper, I'm going a little farther east because I don't really know Canadian landscape. And I'm going with Montreal. Is it east? Figure it out. I want to do a Montreal keeper to Stephen Fry. Houston has looked great, but I'm very intrigued with what Seattle has done, so I'm okay with putting Fry on the back end of a keeperoo. I feel like I have to pick up Cascante this week, and I know that sounds incredibly kind of hopping on the train too late, but they're going to Miami. He's scoring for them. He's getting bonus points for them. Even if he doesn't get a shutout there, I still think that he might be a decent pick, even though he is a road pick. His point production is just something that's really hard to overlook. And then I'm considering Seattle defense too, which I don't know if I'm crazy. I know that Reagan's suspended. Arriaga should fit in okay. Maybe I've finally lost my mind because I've been so off my own home team defensively for some time that I don't know. Maybe I'm just going crazy. But I'm definitely considering Neymar or Nuhu this week. And then he didn't have a great week last week, but I'm considering going back to San Jose defense because they're playing the Galaxy, who just tend to be so awful. And then lastly, although I'm a little less confident in it, I'm also considering some Nashville defense. I don't know why, but I am. And also Barreal. I think that Cincinnati back line, and you can speak to this more, is really altered.
Yeah.
It seems very makeshift, but he's such a point producer, kind of like we were talking about before the show, just some defenders who the shutout isn't the reason you pick them up. I think he might be a decent shot this week, at home against New England, who is not a bad team by any means, but still I think that's a team that he could produce against.
Yeah, I'm worried about that Cincinnati New England game because missing some key components on the defense, and New England also missing some key components, but have offensive components, and I don't know. I'm a little worried with that, though we've got a great home record going there, so that could be a little tough. So I'm avoiding that game for potential keepers. So my general thought process is I always first look at the keeperoo options, and for me, my preference tends to go to Montreal with Suarez for an option. Had a pretty good round this last week with a good clean sheet. They've got like 7 consecutive clean sheets, or at home that might be it, but they got a bunch of clean sheets at home going against New York City, which has not been fantastic in the consistency when it comes to scoring, and so I like that shot as my first clean sheet chance. It gives me a lot of ability to respond for the 10:30 games. We don't have a 9:30, but we do have the 10:30 games, and so it gives you a lot of ability to respond with either someone from San Jose, LA Galaxy, or with Seattle and Houston. Because let's just be honest, I don't think any of us are looking at that Atlanta-Philadelphia game as a potential defensive bonus land points. So it's, Guzan, and all that stuff is just not what we're looking at there. So
maybe Wagner, maybe.
Well, for defense, maybe, but for goalkeeper, any of us are looking at, for that point. Right there. So I do like Montreal as a potential there. If you're going to go with Montreal, I think it's easiest. I'm of two minds here. I think a lot of people are looking at San Jose and going with Daniel there. My only concern is that San Jose can concede, and they have often conceded throughout this year. And I know that LA struggles. This is a pick that's anti-LA, and LA has been a good team to pick against, so I completely understand that, and if that's what you want to settle with, that is not a bad. I do worry because San Jose can concede, and so LA could get something through. It might be a 2-1 or a 1-1 or whatever happens there, or 3-1, but LA could get something. Seattle then is the fallback with Fry as well. I think it's another good option. Seattle coming off a fantastic double clean sheet this week. Houston
single clean sheet.
Was it? I thought. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's right. Well, 1-2 LA. That's right. Got that mixed up in my head. But good points. But Houston, like 2 sides of a coin in this last one. Like puts up 4 points in one game and then just not. So I don't know if Houston has something in it saying relatively full strength compared to many of the other teams with the call-ups and everything that's going on. So a lot there. And Hector Herrera did fantastic work last week, so that could be rough. But I could definitely see if you're going with one of those 7:30 games, Fry or Daniel could definitely be viable. Others that I've seen, I know Gene posted this one in chat. People have been looking at Berkey with St. Louis to match up with one of the 7:30 games. Anybody up there that you might be looking at to match up one of those? Very possible, but you're not going to see a full game. But if you want to match them up with a 10:30 player, you are also technically not going to see the full game because of our start times and how games are going to go, but you will see a lot of it. So if you want to try to take advantage of that Colorado team, which has also not been very good at scoring, I do think that Berkey over there at St. Louis is a very tempting shot if you want to roll with an 8:30 and maybe a 10:30 pairing with your keeper. The same thing, Stan, I still think for San Jose and Seattle if you're looking at those two things. But yeah, so I think Berkey and Montreal are my top 2 picks for the front end. of your keeperoo, and then with San Jose and Seattle coming there after that. Other than that, I mentioned New York at the beginning. Columbus is missing some pieces as well. Red Bulls could put something up. I think they have an offense that can be respected, and they can maybe put something up with Columbus. I have no faith in anything going on with Miami and Austin. That might even lean towards Austin for a road clean sheet there, if anything else. But I don't like those clean sheets, and some of the other games just have too many things going up. But I feel like those are sort of the go-tos. And for me, a lot of that means those are similar teams that I'm looking at for defense as well, if you're looking to match those up. I also think that you could do a Barreal as well if you want to think. I know some people are considering fading him, but I think Barreal's another one you could look at. I think Yamar's one you could look at over with Seattle. If you want to do something crazy, and I will be 100% honest, this is how my team is set up right now. But there is a very good chance that this will not be how my team is set up by the end of the week, depending on maybe how many tweets I get. But I have 3 Montreal defensive units. I have 2 defenders and their goalkeeper on my team right now. And I'm really considering, do I dislike New York City's chance that much? And like some of the former
Blaine
Montreal.
would call that a triple stack.
He would. Others may call it bananas, but I think this could be around where maybe you could go in with 3 players in a defense like that with some of these options right here, because there's some good options for your offensive players where you could really mix it up. But I have 3 Montreal players there right now. Again, that's 100% honest with everybody.
Yeah.
There's a very good chance that will not be what my team is, but I threw that on when I was making this first draft, and I was like, do I hate it? I don't know. I've got Camacho and Waterman there as well. I guess kind of like some of the bonus points they were doing, but that is what I have put right there. Good comment from chat. Barreal is best for the bench given New England's attack. No, absolutely agree. I think Barreal is absolutely a defensive bench play that you're putting up this week if you're going to be rolling with that. Just some questions right there. If you're going with Cincinnati attackers, I think that he's the one that starts out on your bench. Let's see any other quick checks. Yeah, I think that's going to be the general defensive thing. So let's move on now to midfielders. I put my name on here first, so I'll just keep droning on.
I put your name on there first.
You did, yeah. Ashley.
I didn't want to start every time.
That's okay. Ashley made the rundown. So for midfielders, I think this is a week where you have a lot of options. For me, I put Lucho in first. I think that this is still a good opportunity for him without Vasquez. Everything's going to be funneling to Lucho anyway. So I think that's going to be some good opportunities for Lucho, and we saw what he put up last week as well. So it's great right there. I am not shy on Gazdag right now either, potentially. Late in the round, I know he did better in the second game last week, and going up against Atlanta, I don't rate Atlanta's defense. So I feel like some good little bit of rest, that this could be a good road game for Philly. If Zella is there, I know he was out. He is not in the Gold Cup, so he's not on anything with Break With Us. But I like Zella as an option, as he's a good offensive duo. I like to pair up, and then from there, I think it just kind of goes wild. I think you have a lot of options. Reynoso was one. I think, like I said, I don't hate this game for Minnesota. Excuse me, going up against Portland, which we ragged on their defense a lot throughout this season. So I don't think Minnesota will keep a clean sheet, but I think Reynoso could have some opportunities right there. So I can definitely see how that would be a good pick. I think Heel equally on the same side of Acosta. That Heel that could be a game that has points for both of those players on both sides to look at. I think Gauld is one to look at with Vancouver. We talked, he had 2 goals and an assist last week with just 1 game. So I mean, this is a guy who's putting up a lot of points and has some great quality and a good fantasy pedgree. So I like that. And I also like Insigne there with Toronto. It is the U17 coach who has taken over, so I don't know how much of that needs to be factored in.
I don't care.
I just don't know enough about coaching at that level to see if that makes a huge difference. Yeah. But he is someone who I was like, all right, yeah, let's see. And currently, even though they are at home, I have Mukhtar on my fade list. So that is not me trying to overcompensate from Cincinnati losing to DC 3-0, but I do have Mukhtar on my fade list right now because there are some other players I like more. I mean, you could look at Espinoza. I don't know how that's going to be. You could look at Herrera. I don't know how that's going to be. But I think I like some of those other guys a bit better than some of the two old reliables that we might go to. But those are some of the names I have on my short list. What about you, Ashley?
Yeah, I mean, I like Insigne this week. Again, maybe this is me just kind of trying to find a trend where there isn't one yet, but he's definitely someone I'm going to consider. I want to see the lineup. I don't care. I think that the way that he and Bernadette sound like they were kind of, giving opinions before this firing happened. You can't basically make a coach get fired and then not show up and play. So I'm interested to see what the lineup looks like. I'm also looking at P. Ruiz, which is a name I think, honestly, we haven't talked about enough on the podcast, for RSL, who, on the other side of that coin, is going to Toronto, and he's been producing. I don't know if I think that either of them are worth looking at over any of the names that you've already said. I think Lucho's a lock for me. I like Espinoza at home. I think it was Christian had said this on our show a couple weeks ago that without Cade Cowell, Espinoza's point production has been a little lower. Mm-hmm. He's not there for some of that play with Espinoza. I like Almada, even though I don't like Atlanta. I still am definitely looking at him, and it's hard for me to pick up Reynoso because he's not back in form yet, and he had such a weird reason to be, why he was gone and how he came back and all that stuff. But watching some of that game, he definitely still looks like himself. So I think if this, you're going to take a gamble on him, this week might be the time to do it against a Portland team that took a pretty bad beating at home in that double game week. So, yeah. So I don't have much more to throw out for midfield different than you, except for possibly Insigne and P. Ruiz. I also think Zella, who you listed as someone is a name that I'm trying to figure out how to fit in. I do not feel like you feel about Gaseg, though. I don't really. I'm usually one that tries to fight for him whenever he calls him goal dependent, but I don't know. They're missing enough people, and I just don't know if I see it against Atlanta. But
yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, it's one where again could change. First thoughts right there. I mean, Gazdag, Almada, maybe that'll be a call because Almada wasn't on my first draft either. But I know that's definitely going to be a go-to for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Strikers. No,
yeah, forwards. Let's move. I don't think look over that chat. All of a sudden, we just got completely wait, where are we? We lost our place in the chat. Heading over there. No, like I said, I think this is going to be a round where you could definitely have some options with your midfielder. There's definitely some variety with some of the players not here. Maybe some of the other players that you put in there. But this would be a good round, and maybe you even put one on the bench. I don't like that, but maybe you can.
Yeah, I hate minis on the bench.
Yeah, but no, you wanted to get there. Let's get there, Ashley. Let's start talking about forwards. Who do you like?
Yeah, I like Carranza this week. He tends to only do well on the second game of a double, so I don't know if he'll pull through for me on a single. I'm considering just starting him to see if my bench hits, and I need a second scrub. I do like Cucho this week. I'm also considering Polito. Is that crazy? Has Blaine really got to my mind? I just think Vancouver, especially on the road, isn't this, defensive powerhouse. They've had their better defensive performances at home. Polito is starting to be consistent. So I'm definitely, considering him. And then I want to consider Bawanga because of how rotated FC Dallas is, but I don't know if I will with the road game. And he's scored, but the team's form is poor. But I also think that Gigi is an interesting choice this week, and someone to definitely consider. depending on, he's had some rest for being suspended, and he's was on that stretch of scoring, kind of consistently. So I think that's definitely someone else to take a look at. But no one else really. All of those are pretty chalk. I guess I should say Bernardeschi, because I'm having this
You were
weird
talking it
obsession
up.
with Toronto this week. Yeah. But no one else is really jumping out at me. I think for me, it's just kind of just trying to decide between those four names. I've been really down on Abobasi this year, which isn't to say he doesn't have the potential to produce against a team like the Galaxy, but he's definitely a name that I'm considering, even though the matchup is favorable. So, yeah, well, that's kind of where I'm struggling with those four guys. What about you?
Now, I have the same names are on my list: Carranza, Cucho, Bouanga, Gigi, Polito. I mean, I think those are definitely some of the go-tos this round if you're going to do 2 or 3 players. But some of the other players that might be worth looking at. I mean, of course, over at Austin, we have José Zardes going against Inter Miami, which none of us really rate in Miami. They're at Miami, but Zardes with 2 goals and assists within his last 3 games, so he's on a bit of form right there. Also looking over at Chicago, I know, like I said, I'm not targeting anybody, but point out that Kamara's there. I mean, they've had some production there up at the forward spot. If you wanted to look at that. Over in San Jose, there's a Bobasi if you want to kind of go back to that bucket if you do like their chances against LA Galaxy. And then even looking over at Houston, Bassi has gotten on the score, 2 in his last 4, 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 4 games. So there are a few other players that you could look at as potentially differentials. I don't know if you'd want to roll on Vela or go something there. But even like I said, over at Red Bulls with Harper as a potential right there, or going with whichever New England forward is starting if you want to try to roll with something like that. So I don't know if those guys displace some of the top ones that we listed, maybe, because they are on some form. Some of them have some tempting matches, and I did just want to sort of highlight some of those other guys who have gotten some success in the past few rounds, since they could be very, very good picks if you're looking for something a little bit different than what the chalk might lead you to as well. Plus, I really just wanted to see what would happen. Patrick in chat said it's GG, Cucho, and a secret weapon. And if I went down through my list of other players, if I could get it, be like, crap. But no, he did not fall for it. So still do not know what Patrick's secret weapon is when it comes to 2 forwards right there. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the real tricky one for me, Ashley, is captain.
I don't have one, and I know that's a horrible cop-out, especially when it's just the 2 of us. We don't have anybody to fall back on.
Let's see here. Let's ask chat real quick. Who is?
I don't have one, guys. I don't have one. I think if he had just had the week he just had, I would say Mukhtar. I think is the chalkiest choice against a relatively bad DC United and back at home for Nashville. But I get really nervous doing that after such a poor performance in a week. So, I don't know. Christian and Patrick are crazy. I'm not going to captain Renault, so he hasn't even put a full 90 minutes together. I feel like that.
89.
A big swing. They're geniuses, but that seems too bold for my taste. I don't know. What do you?
So it's always a midfielder for me. I just don't like some of the inconsistencies with forwards and just the risk with the defense. So I thought about Lucho, but I don't know with that. And then I thought about Zella because I know, according to Christian, he has never scored when playing the Red Bulls. But
such a crazy. Blaine would say he's due.
Blaine would say he's due, but that's not how things work like that. So I mean, I was looking at Lucho Zella right there. I am not against a Reynoso captain. as a differential. Sure. I don't know if that becomes second or third for me, but he 2 goals and assist last round. A lot of, as Christian shared, lots of big chances created. So I mean, this is why we liked Reynoso previous years. This is what Reynoso does. He's gone 89 minutes. He's going up against Portland, who we don't like. Gets bonus points.
At home.
We're shying away from him because he's relatively new back into the rotation, and it's a week when people are missing. So, but I could absolutely see Reynoso being in there. But as of right now at 10:41 p.m. on Monday, I was sort of tossing around Zella and Acosta, but 100% open to other conversations. Again, I'm going to see online and chat over at Discord, everything right there. Over with our chat.
7:41 p.m. I don't know who I'm going to captain, and I'm not even at 10:41 yet.
You're in the past.
Who knows?
I mean, chat is very similar. We've got some Reynoso options, got some Luso options. People are talking about Cascante. I could totally see that. Like I said, I don't rate Atlanta's defense, so you could go from there. People, of course, mentioned Mukhtar, depending on what you like. He does better at home, and maybe we'll end up back on him, but we'll see. Maybe you're going to go with Almada. I think he's going to go bonkers with getting back to what you wanted him to be. But
I get so nervous captaining someone who's the last game on a whole different day. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. It always makes me too nervous. It's hardly ever worth it. So I don't know, guys.
That's it. But this is going to be a good round to head over to Discord and check out the player poll, because people are going to be able to vote for who they think is the captain, and we'll be posting that. We will be posting this week. I apologize for anyone who was checking last week. Everything just finally caught up to me with the double game week schedules and work schedules and life and everything, and I was not able to get the turnaround within that short window. But it will be back this round where we're going to have the poll results for everyone to take a peek at. So please do check that out over at the Discord community. So that's all that we have for the show tonight. Pretty short and sweet. We didn't have a brand for you from good old buddy Blaine to help fill up some of the airtime. No, it's gold. It's fantasy gold right there. And being a single game week, we were able to kind of focus back on that. We'll get back to having some more guests as well, so we can get some more variety. Love having the opinions from the community, but it's also good to keep down some of our run times as well. So Ashley, do you have any plugs for us tonight?
I don't have any plugs. I'm not plugging much. What was Blaine's car problem? Plugs?
Spark plugs. That's right. Yeah, spark plugs. That's what you're plugging. And of course, the Discord community. That's what is we're always plugging MLSFantasyBoss.com/Discord. The easiest way for you to get access to all kinds of information with chat and call-ups and differential players and just a good community for you to come in and participate on. The go-to community for any MLS fantasy player. 100% right there. And again, the easiest way to get there, MLSFantasyBoss.com/Discord. Click on the link and it joins you automatically. It's open, it's free, it's fun, and you get to hang out with awesome people who are in our chat and who are on our show as guests and who are some of the top, not even some at this point, many of the top fantasy players in this game hang out in that community. So absolutely head over there and check it out. And then MLSFantasyBoss.com for the articles that we have up with Ranch's differentials, players, and as well as our Discord community player poll, where we put our rankings up against the official MLS Fantasy rankings put up by our good friend Skylar. So check those out at every opportunity. It's so much fun. We hope you're enjoying this season. And of course, as always, good luck.